Why, hello there, a nice tale here. I hope this video finds you very well today. I thank you for tuning in. I'm bringing you a review of this budget knife today. This is the Real Steel Destra, designed by Poltergeist Knife Works, I believe that is. And yeah, this is a budget knife, though very, very much so on the edge. However, this is a really, really good knife. I've quite enjoyed this thing. It's not without things that couldn't be improved, but I've really liked it. So let's get into specs, and then we can start talking about why I think this is a good knife and a solid pickup for a budget knife if you like something this size. It's not a huge knife. It's not tiny. It's pretty reasonable. It's let's see, that's just under 3 3/8 blade length, so let's call that 3.32 maybe inches. It is just a hair over 3.5, set in 3.5, 7.5 inches overall, and right around 4 1/4 on the handle. So reasonable ratios, not particularly large. Make our typical comparisons to our comparison knives. Note, I'm not taking the pocket clip, which does stick out a little further, into consideration because it is tail mounted, but I'm measuring to the back end of the scales. Comparison knives, Civivi Elementum and Conspirator, respectively. Elementum, Conspirator, for small and full size, and it falls basically dead in the middle of them. Maybe leaning a little more towards the Conspirator, a tiny bit, but yeah, it's small. One thing it is also is it's not particularly tall. I mean, in fact, the Elementum's taller. And it's not overly thick. In fact, the Elementum is thicker, believe it or not. And the Elementum's a thin, pretty thin knife. I didn't do our comparison to AA batteries for grip length, which I always do. And as you can see, you have 2 AA batteries plus a little bit more for grip length. You shouldn't have trouble holding onto this knife whatsoever, despite its small size. And that was a knife. I'm gonna have to go get that in a minute, but let's finish up here. How thin is this thing? This thing has, as you can see on this particular one, has this sort of sound wave kind of oscillation texture. There are flat ones too, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to measure, but I think I can get it at its thickest right about here, maybe. Yeah, 429 thousandths, so under half an inch. It is thinner than the Elementum. The blade stock is 117, so probably looking they were probably going for 115. I don't know. 116 if you really push it. Yeah, it's a pretty thin blade stock. Behind the edge should be pretty thin. Let's see, where are you? There. No, that's too low. Come on now. Stop fighting. About 12 thousandths behind the edge. It's pretty thin behind the edge. It's not. It does get thick quickly because of just how low of a grind it is, but it's not too bad. You definitely have some life on there. It's, well, it's pretty thin. And it stays that way enough that you're definitely going to probably get your money's worth, I'd say. Definitely, probably. Definitely, probably. Where is the scale? Which is right here. Let's check weight. This thing should be pretty much a featherweight. 2.37 ounces. So you're getting more than an ounce an inch of blade here, which is nice. This thing, it does have, honestly, it's got a steel liner for the liner lock, and that's about it. The rest of the handle is just G10. It is very minimal, very, very lightweight. T8, T8, everything, all around this knife is T8 screws, which is nice because that'll make them a bit more durable than the T6. That should bring us to the end of our specs, I think, yes. I always am hesitant about whether I'm actually done specs or not. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but no, I'm pretty sure that's everything. Alright, so let's just talk about this knife. You've got a slightly modified Wharncliffe blade shape. I mean, I guess with the edge as far as it is forward, you could say it's a pointy sheep's foot, but it's probably mostly Wharncliffe. In Nitro V blade steel, that's a decent budget steel. It's not terrible, not like amazing, but a pretty reasonable budget steel. You'll definitely see a lot of competitors using similar stuff. It is on the slightly higher end in price of budget steel, and that is appropriate for this knife because, as I said, it just barely meets the budget category for me. You have the Real Steel logo there, Poltergeist and your Nitro V. Don't need anything else, and it's fine. The Real Steel is small enough that it's pretty minimal. It's not a big deal at all. You have, where is the edge of this plunge grind? It's a little hard to tell with the stone washing over it, but it looks like it ends about here, which does give you a little bit of life. Fortunately, even on this budget knife, they have put the stop pins internally attached to the blade. So there's nothing stopping you from cutting in sharpening choil or extending this or doing whatever you want. But for now, you have some life to sharpen off, and that's all you can really ask for. It's perfectly fine. Swedge up there, some jimping on the spine, and what's interesting is back here on this jimping, it is actually crowned. In fact, the entire spine is crowned. It's just hard to tell because it gets thinner with the swedge. The jimping is actually pretty great. It works just fine, which is funny considering they put this thumb disc in there, which of course is not jimped, but what you're actually interacting with, the jimping does very much so actually provide some traction. And you can get up real close to the edge in multiple grips. It is pretty darn neutral. Speaking of the thumb disc, of course, that is one of the actuation methods, along with this very low-profile flipper tab, this front sort of forward flipper. The thumb disc, I was worried about that, considering where it's placed. I thought maybe it had to be lower. Well, of course, that would get in the way of the actual edge. It does get in there a little bit. It's a thumb disc, but what are you going to do? It's kind of always does, but they kind of pushed it as far forward as they could reasonably do, which is pretty nice. I mean, look how close it actually gets there. And honestly, no, it works. It's like just right. They've given it a little cant up here, which is very nice to see. The thumb disc on this knife is pretty solid. If you don't mind it, I mean, you could of course take it off and just use the flipper too, but if you want the thumb disc, that's fine. It is there and it works. The flipper, however, is very minimal. As you can see, it barely sticks out and is very low profile, and is in fact the part of the tang that interfaces with the lock bar when it's open, which is kind of interesting. As you can see, it kind of got an angle on there. It's not pokey though. It's very comfortable, and because of how high in relation to the pivot it is, tons of leverage. It works really, really well, actually. It's super easy to actuate this knife. It does have a little bit light of a detent, but for the size of the knife, it's not falling out, and it feels appropriate. It's strong enough. There's also some more jimping down here. It's fine. It doesn't really do much in the way, but kind of. It's a little bit of tactile feel, so no big deal. The G10 is nice and treated. As I said, there is a flat version too if you don't want to see this. There is also a titanium version of this knife that is flat scaled, which is of course much more expensive. It's got titanium and S30V, S35, something along those lines. Lock bar access is another thing that I think they've done a surprisingly good job with. They jimped it, but they didn't cut through all the way, so it's just lightly jimped. This is how you jimp a lock bar. You don't cut through all the way when you and create like hotspots. This is a good way to do it. And this way, honestly, provides just a little bit of grip with the jimping, and you can actually get it from the side, or pretty darn near it. Maybe a slight bit of diagonal, but the lock bar access is pretty reasonable, in my opinion. I sometimes come from the front anyway, just that's how I tend to do that because I rotate knives sometimes, but if you don't mind that, you can definitely get it, or don't want to do that, you can get it from the side, for the most part. And the action is actually pretty amazing. This is a small, thin, light blade, and they've got this thing doing that. Near drop shut on a budget knife that's this thin is pretty spectacular action, honestly. I did clean it out. Did I clean this one out? I don't even remember. I know it came out of the box doing this. I've adjusted it slightly to get it right where I wanted it, but yeah, the action is pretty incredible on this thing. They've used, looks like steel or bronze caged bearings, steel or ceramic bearings in a bronze cage. Really good. Really good action. Absolutely surprisingly stellar there. It has a standoff here, which actually helps because it attaches to helps to hold in the liner, which is of course a liner lock. The back end, on the other hand, actually comes together in a clamshell construction, and the tail-mounted pocket clip sticks out from the back. Honestly, it might be reversible. No, I don't think it's reversible. It looks like it sticks out on this side a little bit more than this side. So I don't think it's reversible. I'm not left-handed, and I'm not interested in getting in there to find out, to be completely honest with you. But I don't think it is. So be aware of that. It is mounted from the middle, which is a blessing and a curse. It often allows it to be more comfortable, but it also often tends to give you less room under the pocket clip. It's not actually that bad on this one. In fact, this is a fantastic pocket clip. This is an ultra comfortable pocket clip. This thing basically nearly disappears in my hand, when I'm just holding onto this knife. I can squeeze down on this and not have this poke into me. It's got continuous rise. It goes in and out of the pocket beautifully. It's got great flex. I don't think, and it's not tight enough, and of course it's going to like tear up your pocket, especially on this softer texturing here. This is a wonderful pocket clip that works excellently. So A1 plus day, yes, definitely solid there. It's a sleek, it's a minimal, it's almost gentlemanly. There are a couple options in G10 colors and patterns, and of course I said there's a more expensive one if you want to go for slightly more, I guess. I mean, it's all titanium and stone washed and everything, so you could go for something a little bit more monochrome that's maybe even a little bit more modern, gentlemanly, maybe. Overall, this is a really good knife. It does come in at $75, so it is right on the edge there for the budget territory. My cutoff is $75. I'll give it like $1 or $2 leeway in both directions, but yeah, $75 is budget. This is $75. Well, it's $74.99, I think, but honestly, it's also centered, and you're gonna know if it's centered because of the seam that's there, and there's no play. Honestly, this feels like, if you're just looking at what it is, I'd say this thing would be much nicer at $65. But when you actually feel the execution of this thing, you're like, you know what? I'm not angry at it. I would like to see it about $5 cheaper. I'd like to see everything cheaper nowadays. But with the crown spine and just the level of execution on the fit and finish here and the action, I hope that they're all like this and they all came out great. This knife, as it is, based on the one that I've seen, is definitely recommendable. The more premium variant in the S35, I think, and titanium is $200. I wouldn't mind seeing about $10 to $15 come off that one. But this feels in the approximate ballpark and kind of where you expect it to be for what they're charging, right? Like, you have to get it in hand and be like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Just looking at it, looks like it's about $10 overpriced, but no, it's quite well executed, and it's a pretty stellar all-around knife. It's definitely recommendable. So, check out the link below. Probably, well, definitely I'll link it. Whether I get anything from that link or not, who knows? Depends on where I link it to. I get something from Amazon, but I don't get something from anywhere else. So if I'm linking it from anywhere else, and then it means it's good enough to be linked, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm working on maybe getting links, but yeah, Real Steel Destra. Also, it's a Poltergeist knife design, so it's an outside designer, which always adds a couple dollars, which, again, makes sense. That's everything I need to talk about. It's a good knife. I thank you for coming in and checking it out. I thank you for sticking around for however long, whether you're seeing this or not. And I'll see you later. I'm done. Have a great day.